Good evening, crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm Georgia, and so happy that you're with us tonight. My sister and I, Maudie, we go on this crafting journey together, and we are so excited about tonight's live. We are going to work with torn paper. This is a wonderful, beautiful design that you can create some really pretty cards. Now, tonight is all about fall colors, fall leaves, and torn paper. Now, fall is my very favorite season. I love the colors. I love the coolness. Everything starts to cool down. So I am wearing a fall shirt in honor of tonight's live. I want to remind you that Maudie is over in the chat room chatting with you, answering any questions that you might have. And so please feel free to chat with her. We will be giving a gratitude gift at the end, and we look at all the chats, likes, and shares, and we just appreciate everyone helping us grow our channel so much. So I'm going to take just a moment, and I'm going to pop down and see who's on. Let's see, we have Stella. Thank you, Stella. I love this shirt. Linda, Melissa, Kathleen, Phyllis is on. Oh, great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Now let me show you one of the cards that we're going to make. We're going to make two cards. See how we have this beautiful spray of fall leaves. Just love it. And it is so easy. And it's just a stamp, ink, and paper. Now I will tell you that the stamp sets that we're going to be working with, we have two stamp sets, and I have a little tip that I want to show you. So let's go ahead and head down to the design table and get started. Let's see here. There we go. Now, these are the two stamp sets that we're going to be working with. If you don't have these, though, not to worry. Use any stamp sets, really flowers, fall leaves, whatever you want to leave. This makes such a beautiful, whatever you want to use. This makes such a beautiful card. But we're going to use Soft Seedlings and Go To Greetings because we just love the script and the font of this stamp set. Now, on this one, I want to show you a little trick, and I'm not telling you to do this, but this came in a big stamp, and it came just like this. Well, we are using a process that we're going to show you tonight with some daubers, and this just all got in the way. Now, we could have used a Post-it note, but really, we wanted to use these leaves, flowers, whatever you want to call them, differently. So, now don't get nervous. But look what we did. We cut it apart. Now you can always put it back together if you want to stamp it as one stamp, not to worry. But now we have this separately, and we can use it in corners and not have to worry about that big leaf. I know it makes people nervous to cut their stamps apart, but we do that sometimes. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you that we're using is this Post-it removable labeling tape. We love this because it's so nice and thick. Look at that. That's going to give us our torn paper. You can use a piece of torn paper, but it makes it so much easier if it's like that. And I am going to get me a piece of paper here that I can work on so I don't get my area messy. And so let's go ahead and start with our first card. Now we've created a top fold, and the top fold is 11 by 4 1/4 scored at 5 1/2, and that creates your top fold. Hey Mary Ann, so happy that you're with us tonight. Now we're going to have two mats on the front, so you're going to need to select your colors that you're going to be working with. And we just thought this Mango Melody and this Rich Razzleberry were so pretty together. So this first mat is simply 5 1/4 by 4. And then our second mat that we're actually going to do our stamping on is 3 3/4 by 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of removable tape right here just to hold this down on my paper. And now I have taken some of that removable Post-it tape. And as you can see, I've already torn this side, but let me show you how to tear it. Now, you don't want too much of a tear, and let me give you a little tip here. If you tear up, you're gonna have a very thin piece of paper there, so that when you go to do some shading, it's probably gonna lift up. So I would recommend that you tear down. So just go ahead and start tearing your paper. Like I said, you can use paper and just use removable tape to get it down on your card, not to worry. But I just wanted to make it even easier on myself, and so I'm just making some tears. And let's get that over here. I'm just gonna continue tearing. I don't know exactly how much of this I need. And now I have torn paper on both sides, and this creates such a beautiful design. We're just gonna put this right in the center of that mat, and now we're gonna bring in our stamps. Now on this stamp, the way we're going to do it is we're gonna do a two-step process. So you wanna make sure and go ahead and take your light color first, because you don't wanna mix the colors. And so I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of Mango Melody, and I'm just going to put it right here in the center, and then I'm gonna use my cherry cobbler to go around the edges. So I'm just getting that good and wet with my stamp. And we're just gonna get that right in the center. Make sure I have enough. And then we're gonna bring in that cherry cobbler. So let's just make sure that I get a good bit of ink there. And now we're gonna open up our cherry cobbler and just go around the edges. Just ever so lightly. And this creates such a beautiful fall leaf. Now, I don't know about y'all, it's not quite fall here, but when it hits August, it's like Monty and I was talking. She said, well, when it hits August, Georgia, you think it's fall. I want it to be fall. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this leaf right here and just hold it for good contact, just to transfer all that ink. And you know, the other good thing about using tape and not using paper is that it really does allow you to stamp right up to the paper. Now look at how beautiful that was. So pretty. Now I'm gonna come back in and I'm gonna stay within just the middle part, and I'm gonna go ahead and ink it up again. And then I'm gonna bring in that cherry cobbler again, and I'm gonna put one down at the bottom here. And I have a bunch of different leaves to bring in. Let's just go ahead and stamp that down right there. Just hold it. Hey, Helen, so happy you stopped by. Okay, now I think I'm gonna go ahead and put just a little leaf right here, just at the top. So I'm gonna focus on just right here at the top. So let's just ink that up a little bit and get just a little bit of cherry cobbler, and then we'll bring in that other color. Just get that going. And just a little bit, just a tad bit of color. Oh, look at that. So pretty. Now I'm going to bring in some rich raspberry, and I'm going to do some of these beautiful leaves. Now I got this from another stamp set. Now you can see where my torn paper is, so I'm just going to put some right there. I'm going to bring some down here, and I'm going to bring in some garden green. Oops. Now you can, if you want to, go ahead and two-tone this too, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and bring in some garden green. And let's see, maybe just a little bit of a leaf right there. Just a little tad. And now I have these cute little berries that I'm going to bring in. So let's see what color. I think I'm going to do those in the Mango Melody. So let's just get a few of those. Look at that. How cute is that? Do a little bit right up here. And now we're going to do some shading, and I want to show you this new tool that I have that I really like in shading. I think you're going to like it too. Let me put this up, and I have these cute little blending. They're called mini blending tools, and they're from Alt New, and they do an excellent job of small areas. And so I'm going to bring in, I think I'll do the soft suede, and I'm going to blend just very lightly where it's torn. So tap it off and then start off and just very lightly. Let's make sure that isn't, you know what, wait just a minute. Okay. Just making sure. That's what I like. You can always take that tape up and see how it's going. And you know what it's doing? It's actually mixing that color. That tape is mixing the color, whereas when we used paper before, it didn't do that. So, not a good idea. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shade just a little bit right up here, I think. Let's shade at the top. That's a good lesson. I guess because that is slick paper, and you don't want that. So just very lightly shade. And I like how you can hold this in your hand. It's just so nice. So I'm just shading a little bit. And I'm going to shade a little bit down here. Let's get that shaded. Shade it just a little bit. I'm going to go in, and then I'm going to come in with a few little dots to really add to it. So let's get that. And I see something I need to wipe up. So let me get this wiped up. I don't want any ink on anything. Okay. So now we have these beautiful little dots. So I'm going to use crumb cake, and I'm just going to put some dots up there. I think that really adds to it. Look at that. So pretty. Just bring in some dots. I'm going to add 2 down here. Not a lot. Just a couple. And now for the great reveal. Let me get sure I don't have any ink on my hands. Which, of course, I do. Who doesn't get inky fingers when they're crafting? I do. Okay, so here we go. The great reveal. Look at this. So pretty. Look at that. Love that. Now, because we want to make sure that our stamping really comes in clear, we're going to go ahead and use our Stamparatus. We're going to lift this off. We're going to use this so that we get it stamped perfectly right where we need it. Just going to put that right there. Put this one here. And on this one, I think we'll do Happy Birthday. So let's just get that lined up right where we need it. Right there. We're going to lift up. And I think we're going to do it in Rich Razzleberry. I think that'll be a really pretty contrast. So let's just very lightly hold it down. Okay, we're going to tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Just hold it. Don't push too hard. And look at that. There we have it. And now we're simply going to put this to the side and bring in our card. So pretty. Now look at these mats. We're going to put down our Melon Mambo. Love these colors together. Ooh, I didn't think about getting a new glue. Let's see if we have enough glue here. Oh, yes we do. Okay, we're just going to lay this down. And this coloring is what really makes this card pop. Let's get that laid down. Now we're simply going to lay this down. And you can always bring in some gems if you want to add some gems, of course. But look at that. So pretty. Now I got a little bit right here. So you could just work on this with your eraser and lighten that up. Just work on it. And it just comes up. So sometimes you do get that halo effect. Okay. And now we're going to do the inside of the card. And I'm going to stamp just a little bit of a flower. And we're going to go ahead and just do rich raspberry. So ready for fall. Look at that. So pretty. Shut that. And I have another saying for happy birthday, thinking of you. And I think I can probably just stamp this and not use the Stamparatus. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And just hold it for good contact. And lift. Oh, look how pretty that is. Turned out so pretty. So we're just going to go ahead and add this into our card. And get some glue. Torn paper is just such a very small thing you can do to your card, but it really does add that interest. Okay, now I have another card to show you at the end, so make sure you stay with us. What do you think about that? Isn't that pretty? I love that. I love those dots. Oh, and I love the sentiment. So let's put that to the side. And now let's start working on our other card. Look at the colors we've selected. This time we've taken Early Espresso and we've taken Pumpkin Pie, one of my favorites, right? And Very Vanilla. So we're going to go ahead and put this to the side. Now this time I believe I have some paper. So let's go ahead and use paper because I think we can blend a little better. And this time I'm just going to lay this straight across using my removable tape. So go ahead and just put a little removable tape, line it right in the center. And once again, this time I just have a straight edge. So let's go ahead and bring in, I'm gonna clean off these stamps just a little bit so that we don't have the exact colors in case we want something different. Okay. And let's see. I need my big one cleaned off just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to use pumpkin pie and crushed curry with our daubers, just to give us a little bit different coloring. So let's move that to the side. And let's see how this coloring turns out. So we have our crushed curry. And you know something else you could do? Let me show you what you can do. You can actually clean your leaf really well. Make sure that it's clean. Make sure that it's dry. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of removable tape here. And then you can dip it, go ahead and ink it up in the crushed curry really well. And then you can bring in your pumpkin pie on the edges so that you don't have to use your dauber if you don't want to. Let's bring in that pumpkin pie and just go around the edges and see what this looks like. And remember, you always want to use your light first. And that way it won't mix in with the dark. Okay, let's go ahead and get that. And let me see what that's going to look like. Okay, see what the, oh, look at that. You know what? We might need to bring in, that crushed curry really didn't do much. So I think what we'll do is we will use our pumpkin pie and our cherry cobbler. So let's go ahead and just stamp this in pumpkin pie. Get a good stamp on it and bring in a little cherry cobbler on the sides. Oh, that's going to be pretty. Now this time we should be able to blend this area because it's not slick like that tape is. But I want to show you the difference. Do you see how you don't get as close when you use paper? It creates that line. So just be aware of that. That is going to happen. So now I'm going to go ahead and clean this off because I am going to put it back in the pumpkin pie. And I'm going to make sure it's dried off. Put it in the pumpkin pie. We're going to have more of the leaf down here this time. And bring in the cherry. Let's make sure we have the cherry cobbler. Just kind of go around the edges a little bit. Okay. And bring that down about right here. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful color. So we're done with our big leaf. So now let's go ahead and bring in, I think we're going to go a little bit darker on this. We're going to bring in our shaded spruce. Shaded spruce. So let's go, oops. Dipped it in the wrong thing, but I didn't dip it in, then dip it in shaded spruce. So let's just clean that off. And now let's make sure it's dry. Dip it in the shaded spruce, tap, tap, tap. I see I have good coverage. Let's go ahead and just get that. We're going to go ahead and put another one, tap, tap, tap. Put it over here. And I'll put one up here. Let's see. Okay. And now we're going to bring in our little berries. I love these little berries. And on this one, we're going to go ahead and make them the cherry cobbler. So let's just get those right here. Tap, tap, tap. Get it in there. Pretty, loving it. You know, and you just keep adding and adding until you have all your blank spots filled. Now we have a little bit of this that we need to add. And I think I'm going to bring in, let's see, what other color would I want to bring in? This is leaf. I think I'll go ahead and maybe bring in shaded spruce, but no, I'm going to bring in garden green, a little bit lighter, and maybe not the whole thing. Tap, 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 and just kind of bring it in right here. Just kind of over that, just a little bit. Okay, bring it down here just a little bit. Let's see. I think I want to bring in a little piece of Post-it note and maybe put it right here just so we don't get it on everything. And bring it over. And there we have just some leaves poking through. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try that again and see if that doesn't work. We're going to bring in just a little bit of our, I believe we're going to bring in a lighter color. Soft Suede. And we're going to use our little mini coloring. Just tap it off and very lightly go over right here. Just a little bit. Now, because this is paper, it's not bleeding all over everything like it was before. And this will just give you a really clean border. Really clean that up. And now I'm going to go ahead and shade it right up here as well. Just do a little shading. Go right over it very lightly. I know you think you can't see it, but once I take this off, you'll be able to see it. Just a little bit. And now I'm going to come down here just a little bit. Shade it just a little bit. And I'm going to go around them. And then I think I'll bring in just a little bit of the orange, the pumpkin pie. You know, just small little things like this really do create some interest on your card. So I'm bringing in that pumpkin. Oh, nope, that's Mango Melody. Let's see. Pumpkin pie. Bring in that pumpkin pie and just hit it with a little bit. Now, that's way dark, so you always want to make sure that you tap off first, right? And just come in with a little bit. Just to lighten it up. Okay. I'm going to go down here just a little. And then we can see what this is going to look like. Okay. Now, let's close this one so we don't get it dirty. And let's just lift this off. Oh, look how pretty that is. Now, I think we need our little dots because I think that really adds some interest. I don't know about you, but I really like that. So now I just have to find my little dots. They're hiding from me. Let's see. We have our leaves there. Oh, there they are. And this time I think I'm going to use the cherry cobbler. Let's darken it up just a little bit. Okay. Just add some of those. Just a few and then a few down here. Look at that. So pretty. And now let's bring in our pumpkin pie and our early espresso card. Get that laid down. Hey, Lisa. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Oh my goodness. What do you think about these color combinations? I love this early espresso with this pumpkin pie, brown and orange. I mean, really, that is a beautiful color combination, I think. What is your favorite color combinations? Do you use more of the purples and the reds or the orange and the browns? So we're going to be putting that right there. But first we need to go ahead and stamp it. And on this one, we're going to put Thinking of You right in the center. So let me see what color. I think, well, I'm thinking we should use the cherry cobbler because I just think that would be so pretty. So let's go ahead and line that up. Now we're using a completely different sentiment. So let's get that centered right where we need it. I love this font. Such a beautiful font. Really makes your card pretty. Get that centered right where we want it. Lift it up. Make sure that you put like a stamp case on the side of whatever stamping tool you use because you don't want it to fall down. So I think that's really a good tip for you. And then we're simply going to get our cherry cobbler and tap, tap, tap. Better to go too light. Hold it. We didn't expect it to be perfect on the first one. That's why we're using our stamp apparatus, right? Hold it. Lift it up. Oh, we need just a little bit on the U. And I think that'll do it. Tap, tap, tap. Hold it. And there we have it. Oh, perfect. Love it. Let's see. So now we're simply, I'm going to close this. I can just see me dipping my fingers in it. So let's just go ahead and post this right on the front of our card. And we will have 2 cards ready for fall. August, to me, August. We looked it up. It's like September 22nd, but we are not waiting until September 22nd to say it's fall. If it would just get a little cooler. Things aren't in the 100 as often. They're starting to drop down in the 90s here in southern New Mexico. So we're kind of happy with that. Okay, so now we have our piece of paper. Well, we had our piece of paper. I want to go ahead and let's see if I can find that. It's okay, not to worry. Oh, there it is. So we have our piece of paper on the inside. And on this one, I think I'm just going to put some of these leaves and then just put maybe some cherries. So let's go ahead and stamp, let's see, the garden shaded spruce. Let's make sure that's cleaned off. Oh, it's already stamped in shaded spruce. So we're just going to tap, 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 load it up, put a few little leaves right here. Look at that. Just something small. And I'm going to see what I stamped the other one in. Oh, thinking of you. And then we're going to put just a few little berries in the cherry cobbler. So let's do that. Let's get a few of those. Let's just put it right there. Put it right there on the side. And now we're going to stamp, and I think we'll stamp in cherry cobbler. We're putting thinking of you, and this one's a happy birthday on the inside. So tap, 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 tap. Make sure we have enough. I'm going to stamp this off just in case. Just making sure. Okay, I'm going to have to be careful. Let's see, just happy birthday. Keep your fingers crossed. Oops, didn't quite make it. Oh boy. Well, you know the good thing about that when you don't quite make it? You turn it over and you bring in your stamp apparatus, which we know is kind of what we should do anyway, right? So we're just going to clean this off. And we are going to use our stamp apparatus. What happened with this stamp is that it is so skinny. The font is really, really skinny, and so that's creating the problem. So we're just going to wipe that off. We're going to put this right here and lift it up. Make sure we have this right under it. Just go tap, tap, tap. And very lightly. We need a little bit on the H. Tap, tap, tap. Make sure I have enough. Okay. And there we have it. Perfect. So when in doubt, use your stamp apparatus or your stamping tool. So we're going to take that off, and we're simply going to get us some more leaves. Bring in our spruce again. And I'm going to show you this card. Okay, we didn't use that one. We used this one. So this time I think I'll do it a little differently. I'm going to stamp it, and then I'm going to bring in some of the little bubbles. I like those. The little dots. I think they're so pretty. And we'll just kind of stamp them in our cherry cobbler. Pastel colors, that would be pretty. And I don't know if you were the first one to say that, but you know, that would be very pretty, pastel colors. So let's go ahead and just get this inside our card. And open that up. Get our glue. Get it lined up. Okay. And press it down. Now, here are the two cards that we made, but I want to show you something else that we did with the card. Now, look at this one. We went ahead and we used our paper, but after we stamped this, we went ahead and did some Versamark on it so that it was really shiny. I don't know if you can see the shine on that, but oh my goodness, it made it so pretty. And I don't know which one you like better. Do you like the actual torn paper or do you like the straight edge? You're going to have to let us know below. If you're watching the rebroadcast, take a moment and let us know. Do you like the torn paper or the straight edge? I don't know. I do love the double stamping process though. I think that that really creates interest on your leaves. And so we really like that. Well, crafting friends, we thank you so much for spending your time with us. We hope you like this torn paper or just putting the border over there and using paper. I think it really adds to it when you shade your card. I think that really, really makes it pretty. You can tell this one wasn't shaded, and then we came in with some shading on this one, and this one wasn't shaded too. So you'll have to let us know which one that you like the best. But right now, we want to announce our person that talked and chatted and liked and shared, and we just appreciate all the thumbs up that we received. And so we hope that whoever wins, make sure that you take a moment. You either go to Georgia at creativemomentsbyg.com and please send us your address. I mean, because sometimes people say, hey, I'm the winner, and then they don't send us their address, and that is so sad because we don't know who to send it to. So please make sure that you do that. And let's see who gets it for tonight. We're trying to get it to wake up. There's our thing. Helen Stewart. Yay. Let's give Helen. Congratulations, Helen. Yay. We're so happy for you. We just appreciate your time. We hope that you take a moment. If you're watching the rebroadcast, give us a comment below. Let us know how we're doing. We want you to go out and make it a fantastic weekend. Try this torn paper. We would love to see your cards. Post them over on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and it's all at Creative Moments by G. Well, crafters, go out, have a fantastic weekend, and we hope to see you next week. Remember, Tuesday at 10 and Thursday at 7 p.m. Take care. Bye-bye.